So last class रे आमे देखी थिले कि menstrual cycle. So एबे देखिबा कि how is the structure of human egg, how fertilization process ताको टिके briefly देखिबा. यदि आमे structure of human egg को देखिबा ताले ये कहूची जे oocyte और ovum is surrounded by the membranes termed as egg membrane. माने the ovum टा surrounded by गोटे membrane layer of wall द्वारा surrounded थाए ताको आमे कहूचे egg membrane. Okay. Oocyte, ovum along with the egg membrane are termed as egg. So ovum along with the egg membrane is termed as the egg. On the basis of origin, egg membrane तीन प्रकार थाए, 3 types. So first is primary egg membrane. This membrane is secreted by oocyte itself. हमर जो कौन थिला जोना पेलुसिडा थिला जोटा हमर कौन सेकेंडरी corpus luteum हमर सेकेंडरी oocyte रो जस्ट बाहर थिला ताको हम कहूचे जोना पेलुसिडा. सो एटा कहूचे हम प्राइमरी एग मेम्ब्रेन. ओके. सेकेंडरी एग मेम्ब्रेन कौन? दिस इज फाउंड आउटसाइड ऑफ प्राइमरी एग मेम्ब्रेन. इट इज secreted by ओवरी, एग्जांपल कोरोना रेडिएटा. सो जस्ट जोना पेलुसिडा आउटर साइड रे जो लेयर टक हम रहले ताको हम कहूचे कोरोना रेडिएटा. अब आम कहे सेकेंडरी कौन एग मेम्ब्रेन. टर्शियरी एग मेम्ब्रेन कौन ना टर्शियरी एग मेम्ब्रेन दिस इज प्रेजेंट आउटसाइड द प्राइमरी एग मेम्ब्रेन. प्राइमरी एग मेम्ब्रेन बाहर थाए. इट इज आइदर सिक्रेटेड बाय द यूटेरस और द ओविडक्ट. एग्जांपल जेली कोट एट एम्फीबियंस एंड सेल इन द टेरेस्ट्रियल ओविपरस एनिमल्स. सो फंक्शन ऑफ एग मेम्ब्रेन कौन कौन यार फंक्शन ना प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड करिवो टू द डेवलपिंग एग को, to check polysperming so that there is no another sperm induce करबोनी जेमती सेटा माने थरे oocyte secondary oocyte ovum development हिसाला परे polar nuclei हिसाला परे next entry of a sperm should be barricaded so that it is to check polysperming to provide the buoyancy to the amphibian eggs. Buoyancy provide कर. Okay. So एबे आसो फर्टिलाइजेशन को प्रथम देखिबा कोन होची. द प्रोसेस इन व्हिच द यूनियन ऑफ मेल एंड फीमेल गैमेट formed by the gametogenesis and the fusion of a pronucleus of sperm and ovum takes places, thus a diploid zygote is formed, is called as a fertilization. Concludes the process in which union of a male and female gametes formed by the gametogenesis and the fusion of a pronuclei of the sperm and ovum takes places, thus a diploid zygote is formed, is called as the fertilization. Conclusion then, the motile sperm swims rapidly, pass through the cervix, cervical canal pass with, enter into the uterus and finally reach the ampullary region of fallopian tube or oviduct. So oviduct ampullary region में जाएंगे sperm wait करे. The ovum or the secondary oocyte released from the ovary and corpus luteum, okay, is also transported to the ampullary region where the fertilization takes place. So fimbrite kunauchi ampullary region. Then fertilization can only occur. Fertilization kete bela hobo? Only occur if the simultaneous ovum and sperm are transported simultaneously to the ampullary region. There is simultaneous movement, simultaneous release out of a स्पर्म्स स्पर्मटा से समय जाइए और से समय ओवम रिलीज होइए. सो एटा कौन कह जाए हमको फर्टिलाइजेशन कह जाए. सो दैट दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई नॉट ऑल द कपुलेशन लीड टू द फर्टिलाइजेशन एंड प्रेगनेंसी. एथि सब कपुलेशन ता फर्टिलाइजेशन हुए नहीं कि प्रेगनेंसी को लीड करे नहीं. केवल जिते लीड करे जिते गोटे फीमेल कौन ओव्यूलेशन चली थाए, ovulation cycle चली थाए एवं in that time, in the meantime, if a sperm comes to the ampullary region, then only the fertilization occurs. Otherwise, if there is because जदि सेठी ovum ही नथिबो sperm भी गले भी there is no copulation because both are necessary. Okay, the ovum is necessary and as well as the sperm is necessary for the fertilization. जदि ovum ही नथिबो तो fertilization will not take place. So every copulation does not ensure that there will be fertilization or the pregnancy will be there. The only time it will happen when the both comes to the ampullary region in a simultaneous time both sperm will come and the ovum will come to the ampullary region in a simultaneous time, so that in that time it will go through, the pregnancy will be succeeded. Okay, so the union of a male and female gamete is called as the then the union of a male and female gamete is called as the syngamy. Male gamete to female gamete fusion को हमें कहते syngamy first. Then intermixing of the cytoplasm ଯେତେବେଳେ fuse होची ताको हमें कहते plasmogamy. ଆଉ ଯେତେବେଳେ ପ୍ରୋନ୍ୟୁକ୍ଲିୟସ୍ ଅଫ୍ ସ୍ପର୍ମ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଓଭମ୍ ହେଉଛି ଆମେ ତାକୁ କହୁଛେ କ୍ୟାରିଓଗାମି. ଯେତେବେଳେ ନ୍ୟୁକ୍ଲିୟସ୍ଟା ଫ୍ୟୁଜ୍ ହେଉଛି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ କ୍ୟାରିଓଗାମି. ଦେନ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟରମିଙ୍ଗଲିଂ ଅଫ୍ ଦେୟାର କ୍ରୋମୋଜୋମ୍ସ, ଯେତେବେଳେ କ୍ରୋମୋଜୋମ୍ କ୍ରସିଂ ଓଭର ହେଉଛି, କ୍ରୋମୋଜୋମ୍ ମିଶୁଛି, ତମେ କଲ୍ ଦ ଆମ୍ଫିମିକ୍ସିସ୍. ଓକେ, ସୋ fusion of a male and female gamete is called as the syngamy. ସାଇଟୋପ୍ଲାଜମର ଫ୍ୟୁଜନକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ପ୍ଲାଜମୋଗାମି, ନ୍ୟୁକ୍ଲିୟସ୍ର ଫ୍ୟୁଜନକୁ କହୁଛେ କ୍ୟାରିଓଗାମି, ଆଉ କ୍ରୋମୋଜୋମର ଫ୍ୟୁଜନକୁ କହୁଛେ ଆମେ ଆମ୍ଫିମିକ୍ସିସ୍. এই 4টা terms important. Okay, syngamy. Okay, syngamy, just a minute. Then plasmogamy, then karyogamy, and amphimixis. এটা কোন না ফিউশন অফ আ গ্যামেট. ওকে, এটা হচ্ছে ফিউশন অফ আ সাইটোপ্লাজম, এটা হচ্ছে ফিউশন অফ আ নিউক্লিয়াস প্রোনিউক্লিয়াস. ওকে, এটা ফিউশন অফ আ ক্রোমোজোম. মেকানিজম অফ ফর্টিলাইজেশন কেমতি হচ্ছে না মুভমেন্ট অফ স্পর্ম টুয়ার্ডস দ্য সেকেন্ডারি ওসাইট. এই মুভমেন্ট হব স্পর্মস টুয়ার্ডস দ্য সেকেন্ডারি ওসাইট এদিকে মুভমেন্ট হব. দেন পেনিট্রেশন অফ কোরোনা রেডিয়াটা যেটা লেয়ার লা আমার কোণ কো লেয়ার লা এটা কোরোনা রেডিয়াটা প্রথমে লা জোনা পেলুসিটা হল না, তারপরে সেকেন্ড লেয়ার লা আমার কোণ এটি আমি পড়িলে কোরোনা রেডিয়াটা. ওকে, সেকেন্ডারি এগ মেমব্রেন. ওকে, so penetration of coronal radiata by hyaluronate enzyme. Okay, so enzyme द्वारा penetration हबो coronal radiata. Then adherence of sperms, just a minute. Adherence of sperms to the JP3 receptor region on zona pellucida, this lead to the initiation of acrosomal reaction and various enzyme are released. So এই जो স্পর্মটা আসিব সেটারে আমি JP3 রিসেপ্টর থাকে জোনা পেলুসিডারে, এটাকে আকসেপ্ট করে আর লিডস টু দ ইনিশিয়েশন ইনিশিয়েট করে কোন না acrosomal reaction. जो স্পর্মর acrosome থিব তা সহিত রিঅ্যাকশন স্টার্ট করব. দেন ভ্যারিয়াস এনজাইম আর রিলিজড ইন দ্যাট মিন টাইম লাইক acrosin by zonalization. Okay, acrosin or zonalization. Then acrosin कौन करे ना, acrosin का काम कौन ना facilitate the function of as a penetration of the sperm through the zona pellucida. acrosin ही ये जो एंजाइम थाए सेटा कौन करे ना फैसिलिटेट करे. कौन फैसिलिटेट करिवो, पेनिट्रेट करिवो, काहा को पेनिट्रेट करिवो ना स्पर्म को पेनिट्रेट करिवो कोथरे थ्रू द जोना पेलुसिडा. फ्यूजन ऑफ स्पर्म एंड मेम्ब्रेन ऑफ अ सेकेंडरी oocyte को हम जामे सिनगामी कहते जो मेल गैमेट और फीमेल गैमेट रो फ्यूजन को. Then phagocytosis of sperm by the secondary oocyte. Then completion of a meiosis II if secondary oocyte during the phagocytosis to form ovum and simultaneously it is release the second polar body. Okay, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ polar body ବାହାରି ଗଲା. Structural changes in zona pellucida through the cortical reaction and discharge of a cortical granules in the previtelline space from the fertilization membrane which prevent the polyspermy. Polyspermy को divide कर. So in this event, fertilization completed, sperm enter inside the ovum by the phagocytosis. In the followed plasmogamy, in which all the structure of sperm dissolve in the egg cytoplasm except the sperm nucleus and the proximal centriole. That centriole will help for the formation of a cleavage. Okay, and after formation of the zygote will help in the cleavage after formation of zygote. Then the nucleus of the sperm absorbs water from the egg cytoplasm and become enlarged. Now it is called as the male pronucleus. Then the male pronucleus and female pronucleus migrate to a definite roots, come close to each other. These roots are called as the fertilization path. This is followed by karyogamy. then amphimixis, that is completion of fertilization occurs. Okay, से कौन कौन ना एक्रोजिन जो थिला सेटा हम कौन हेल्प करियो पेनिट्रेशन ऑफ स्पर्म को पेनिट्रेट करियो थ्रू द जोना पेलुसिडा, देन फ्यूजन ऑफ स्पर्म एंड द मेम्ब्रेन ऑफ सेकेंडरी oocyte फ्यूजन हैला, देन फागोसाइटोसिस द्वारा स्पर्म को साइटोप्लाज्म को एंट्री करा गला inside the ovum, enters in the event of fertilization the complete sperm enter through the inside the ovum, then followed by plasmogamy, then कौन karyogamy, then amphimixis. Okay. Significance कौन fertilization ना, the secondary oocyte completes its second maturation division before the completion of fertilization on coming contact with the sperm. The amphimixis process leads to the formation of a diploid zygote and restore the normal diploid number of the chromosomes. The paternal and maternal characteristics are transmitted to the offspring through the process of fertilization. Paternal maternal characteristics variation हम जो पढ़िबे next genetics. The peripheral changes occurring the egg membrane prevent the further entry of sperm. Our sperm entry करिवनी. Okay. Thus checking the polyspermy. So polyspermy को check करिवो. Okay, जो membrane जो थिला हमरा. So male gametes and the sex chromosome could be either X or Y. Hence, the 50% of sperms carry the X chromosome, while the 50% carry Y. After fusion, the male and female gamete in the zygote would carry either XX or XY, depending on whether the sperm carrying X or Y fertilized ovum. The zygote carrying XX would develop into a female baby and XY a male. Like, ये कौन कहूची ना X and Y is the कौन है टामरा male, आउ XX टामरा कौन female. So जेतेबेले एथिरु division habo, so either X will come or Y will come. If X will come, then it will fertilize with X of a female, then it will be female. If Y will come, then it will be the male. This is the fertilization process actually. It's a polar body. Okay, then its sperm asila एठी जोना पेलुसिडा लेयर को एंट्री कला, then कौन तापरे fertilization हला माने एटा प्रथमे syngamy, then followed by the plasmogamy, karyogamy, then amphimixis. Okay, so एटी कौन कहूची NCERT. During the copulation, semen is released by the penis into the vagina, the coach insemination. The motile sperm swim rapidly and pass through the cervix. Fallopian tube, the ovum released by the ovary is also transported to the ampullary region where the fertilization takes place. Fertilization can only occur if the ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullary region that I have said before. This is the reason why not all the copulation lead to the fertilization and pregnancy. The process of fusion of sperm and with an ovum is called as fertilization. During the fertilization, a sperm comes in the contact with the zona pellucida layer, okay, of the ovum and induces the changes in the membrane that blocks the entry of additional sperms. It additional gote sperm entry कर साला परे additional sperms आउ entry हवा नहीं. ताको कौन चे polysperm को check करिया पे. Thus ensure that only one sperm can fertilize and one ovum. The secretion of the acromion helps the sperm enter into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane. Thus induces the completion of a meiotic division of the secondary oocyte. The secondary meiotic is also anuchal and results of formation of a secondary polar body. So what second polar body? First polar body is like primary oocyte to secondary oocyte को आस्थिला. Okay, and a haploid ovum oocyte. Soon the haploid nucleus of the sperm and the ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote. Okay, and how many chromosomes will be there in the zygote? One has to remember that this XY eta description. Then start होची हमरा कौन cleavage. Cleavage कौन? This term cleavage was given by von Baer. In the fertilized egg or the activated egg, जोटा fertilized है सारी activated egg तम कहूचे, undergo repeated cell division. Undergoes the repeated cell division which occurs rapidly, producing a multicellular structure without changing its size. Size रे change न करी कि rapid division होची और develop cell division होची. All these rapid mitotic division are collectively called as a cleavage or segmentation. Due to the process of cleavage, a single cell zygote goes through a successive mitotic cell divisions, changes into complete multicellular structure, morula development. The cell produce a result of cleavage are formed as the blastomers. Then blastomers from morula. A scientific named the scientist named Balfour gave a law. According to him, the rate of cleavage, जो cleavage that rate of is dependent, is inversely proportional to the amount of yolk present in the egg. केते यक प्रेजेंट जदि अधिक थिबो ताले कोन द क्लीवेज ता कम हबो जदि कम थिबो ताले अधिक क्लीवेज हबो हैना देन सेही कथा कहू सेठी द माइटोटिक डिवीजन स्टार्ट्स विथ द जाइगोट मूव्स थ्रू द isthmus okay the oviduct called as a cleavage towards the uterus and forms a first 2 then 4 8 16 daughter cell called as the blastomeres. Okay, the embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres are called as the morula. Then blastomeres ta morula re develop. Then morula continues to divide and transfer into blastocyst. Then prathame kon thila blastomer, then the morula transforms into blastocyst in the and it moves further to the uterus. The blastomers in the blastocyst are arranged into a layer called as a trophoblast, and the inner group of cell attached to the trophoblast is called as the inner cell mass. The trophoblast layer then gets attached with the attached with interior layer of the uterus, stratum functionalis. Okay, so endometrium layer then gets attached to the endometrium, and the inner cell mass gets differentiated as the embryo. Okay, after attachment of uterine cells divides rapidly after attachment isala pare the uterine cells also divide rapidly and covers the whole attachment. The blastocyst को भी also cover करता हो हला जोटा को हमें कौन uterine रो layer आउ uterine रो tissues endometrium layer रो tissues आउ ए जो implant है थी बा जो कौन blastocyst tissue ये मिसी की गोटे placenta करन्ते सेटा कही छे. Uterine cells divide rapidly and covers the blastocyst. As a result, the blastocyst becomes embedded in the endometrium of the uterus. Embedded है गला. कुछ जिनिस तो मतलब ना embedded माने कौन माने जैसे iPhone नो पछर तुम embed करूचो, ओके ना कि iPad रो पछर तुम embedded करूचो तुम ना को मतलब तुम जहाँ लिखियो को चाहूचो कि तुम shirt रो engrave करूचो ऐसा कि तुम finger तुम ring से engrave करूचो इटा कौन है जी completely engrave है जाइए कहाँ से तो in the blastocyst become embedded in the endometrium of the uterus. This is called as the implantation and leads to the pregnancy. Okay, so after pregnancy kon hochi after implantation the finger like projection appear to the trophoblast called as the chorionic villi, which is surrounded by the uterine tissue and the maternal blood. The chorionic villi and uterine tissue become interdigited with each other and jointly form a structural and functional unit between developing embryo and the maternal body is called as the placenta. जोटा कौन again after that corpus luteum दौथला किछि 4 weeks जाएंगे then हमको then corpus luteum परे हमको placenta जो embedded structure और uterine wall और blastocyst रो ये सेटा हमर कौन chorionic villi देखो finger like projection appear on the trophoblast called as a chorionic villi which surrounded by the uterine tissue and the maternal blood. The chorionic villi and uterine tissue it become interdigitated with each other and jointly form a structural and functional unit to developing embryo. That is after that morula blastocyst पर जो morula माने जो embryo हला ताकू support करिया पे ताकू nutrition provide करिवो ताकू सब प्रकार support देवा पई आमे कोन गोटे maternal structure हला maternal body is called as the placenta. जेते बेले delivery हुए बेबी रो जो fetus रो जेते बेले that fetus त माने जो बेबीटा भी बाहर को आसे और प्लासेंटा को भी रिलीज बाहर करा जाए. The placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen and a nutrient to the embryo and also removal of carbon dioxide excretory waste material produced by the embryo. The placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord which helps in the transport of substances from the mother to the embryo through the embryo. Placenta also acts as an endocrine tissue, produces several hormones like human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, estrogens and progesterone. In the latter phase of pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin is also released, secreted by the ovary. Let us remember, मन रखियो एटा जे एससीजी माने जोटा हमर ह्यूमन क्यूरियोनिक गोनाडोट्रोपिन ये जो ह्यूमन पेसेंटल लैक्टोजेन एगुड़ाक केवल इन टाइम ऑफ प्रेगनेंसी रे ही रिलीज हुए okay produce women in the occurring during the pregnancy only. In addition, during pregnancy the level of other hormone like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine etc are increased several folds means बहुत गुणा in the maternal blood रे बहुत थाए. Okay. Increase the production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth माने embryo रो fetus रो growth पई ये hormone गुड़ाक दरकार. Okay. So, metabolic changes in the mothers and the maintenance of the pregnancy. Immediately after the implantation, the inner cell mass, immediate implantation, then internal mass or the embryo differentiates into an outer layer called ectoderm, middle layer mesoderm, and inner layer endoderm. Hala? So, এই जो layer गुड़ा कही एइथिरु ही सब organ गुड़ाकर पर develop होइछि. से कहते mesoderm soon appears as between ectoderm and endoderm. These three layers give rise all tissue and organ in the adults. ये जो layer गुड़ाक then tissue then organ development होइछि. It need to be mentioned here that inner cell mass contains certain cell called as stem cells which have the potency to give rise all the tissues and organs. So काहाटू होछि ना stem cell कोठी present अछि ना ये जो कोन layers गुड़ाक ectoderm, mesoderm और endoderm. Okay. Inner cell mass से कौन ये stem cell अच्छी जोटा हम कौन have the potency to give rise all the tissues of the organs. What are the major feature of embryonic development at various months of pregnancy? There are various months of pregnancy where what exactly will happen. केते बेले heart rate completely शुभा जीवा दरकार केते बेले completely तार माने internal structure गुड़ा को development होची. So सेबरा कोई. So do you know that how many months pregnancy last in dogs, elephant and cats? That also you. Let me know in the comment. Find out in human beings after 1 month of pregnancy the embryo's heart is formed. The first sign of a growing fetus may be noticed by listening to the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. Okay. By the end of the 2nd month of pregnancy the fetus develops limbs and digits. By the end of 12 weeks, first trimester, okay, 3rd trimester, okay, most of the major organ systems are formed. For example, the limbs and external genital organs are well developed. The fast movement of the fetus and the appearance of the hair on the head usually observed during the 5th month. By the end of about 24 weeks, the body is covered with fine hair, eyelids and separate and eyelashes are formed. By the end of 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and is ready for the delivery. Then lactation. Lactation goes the average duration of human pregnancy is about 9 months, which is called as the gestation period. Vigorous contraction of uterus at the end of a pregnancy causes the expulsion delivery of the fetus. This process of delivery of the fetus is called as a breastfeeding. This is induced by the complex neuroendocrine. Neuroendocrine means the neuron na bhi kaam hoche aur endocrine system means hormones ra bhi kaam hoche. Set point of coach ame neuroendocrine system. Okay. Neuroendocrine mechanism. The signals for pituition originate from the fully developed fetus and the placenta which induce mild uterine contraction is called as the fetal ejection reflex. This triggers the release of oxytocin. कौन हुए जेते बेले 9 months हो जाए सेते बेले हमर कौन ना प्लासेंटा गोटे mild uterine contraction induce a mild uterine contraction that is called as the fetal ejection reflex. एथरे कौन हुए एटा कौन करे ना ओरिजिनेट करे ऑक्सीटोसिन को ओरिजिनेट करे. ऑक्सीटोसिन कौन करे ना ऑक्सीटोसिन कौन करे कंट्रैक्शन स्टार्ट करे यूटेरस. ओके कौन कहते ऑक्सीटोसिन एक्ट्स ऑन द यूटेराइन मसल एंड कॉजेस स्ट्रॉन्गर यूटेराइन कंट्रैक्शन. ओके यूटेराइन कंट्रैक्शन को कौन इंड्यूस करे. सो जेते इंड्यूस करे ऑक्सीटोसिन एक्ट्स ऑन द यूटेराइन मसल एंड कॉजेस अ स्ट्रॉन्गर यूटेराइन कंट्रैक्शन, which in turn stimulates the further secretion of again अधिक secretion of oxytocin. The stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues resulting in the stronger and stronger contraction. ये जो कौन माने यूटेराइन contraction और oxytocin release simultaneous हुए सेते कौन बहुत अधिक जोरे contraction start हुए stronger and stronger contraction को रेज हुए. The stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in the stronger and stronger contraction. This leads to the expulsion of a baby out of the expulsion out of the uterus through the bath canal. Bath canal कोटा हमरा cervix और vagina to come मिसी कोजे bath canal. Okay, the bath canal. Soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. Okay. So what do you think the doctor inject to induce delivery? कौन induce करती? Oxytocin गोटे आर्टिफिशियली इंड्यूस करते कौन पाई जे कंट्राक्शन टाकू इंड्यूस करने पाई. सो जदि पेन आसुनी लेबर पेन आसुनी देन बेले बेले देयर आर मेनी हार्मोनल चेंजेस जो कौन ऑक्सीटोसिन ये जो फोटल इजेक्शन रिफ्लेक्स था कौन हुई पारे से आर्टिफिशियली ऑक्सीटोसिन को माने व्हेन हिज बेबी इज कंप्लीटली 9 months इट कंप्लीटली मैच्योर्ड एंड द डॉक्टर हैव सीन इन द अल्ट्रासाउंड देन से माने कौन करेंगे ना ऑक्सीटोसिन को कौन करेंगे इंड्यूस करेंगे एमती नुह आसबनी आसब बट मे बी लेट. सो वी नीड द बेबी सो दैट जदि ग्रोथ हो जाए कंप्लीटली इज वेट हैविंग द आइडियल वेट सो वी शुड टेक इट आउट. सो फॉर दैट रीजन द ऑक्सीटोसिन इज इंड्यूस्ड. ओके बेले बेले ऑक्सीटोसिन कम रिलीज होता है से ऑल्सो ऑक्सीटोसिन इंड्यूस करा जाए. सो ऑक्सीटोसिन इंड्यूस करा जाए सो दैट स्ट्रंगर एंड स्ट्रंगर कंट्रैक्शन विल कम आउट सो दैट द बेबी द fetus will come out from the uterus along with the placenta. Okay. Then the mammary gland of female undergo differentiation during the pregnancy and start producing milk towards the end of the pregnancy by the process called as the lactation. This helps the mother in feeding newborn. The milk produced during the initial few days, so first milk is the colostrum. Okay. So the initial few days of lactation is colostrum, which contains with several antibodies and absolutely essential to develop the resistance of newborn babies. Okay, so resistance increase करे जोटा कौन आम कोलोस्ट्रम जो generally yellowish दिखे थाए. Okay, the breast feeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by the doctor by bringing up a healthy baby. Around generally doctor माने कौन थी 6-month baby feeding is completely necessary for the a healthy baby, so that his gut health, his immunity will be increased. Fine. So the chapter is over. So in some next classes we will discuss some of the questions of the reproduction in human.